Good morning, class. My name is Christos Vurtsas. Today, I will discuss the Federal Reserve System and its actions in World War I, the Great Depression, and World War II. The Federal Reserve System, or Federal Reserve, or shortened the Fed, is a central banking system of the U.S. It was created in 1913 to control the economy and prevent economic crises, or panics as they were called in the 19th and 20th centuries. Gradually, the Federal Reserve expanded, gaining more power and responsibilities, especially in the 1930s during the Great Depression. In the three most crucial events of the 20th century, World War I, the market crash of 1929 with the following Great Depression, and World War II, the Fed was a primary institution in leading the economy and allowing the U.S. government to maneuver in these tumultuous events. Alan Meltzer's The History of the Federal Reserve, 1913 to 1986, is the most informative book on the history of the Federal Reserve and has enough documents to help the reader understand the reserve structure, policies, and how they impacted the U.S. economy and the world. Murray Rothbard's A History of Money and Banking in the United States, the Colonial Era to World War II, reveals the people behind the creation of the Federal Reserve, which were amongst the wealthiest in the U.S. in the late 19th and early 20th century. Milton Friedman and his colleague Anna Schwartz wrote A Monetary History of the United States, 1967-1960, where the U.S. economic history from 1967 to 1960 is analyzed through a monetarist view. They clearly demonstrate the cause of the Great Depression and the recovery process. The period of 1929-1933 was called the Great Contraction, the most severe business cycle contraction during the near century of U.S. history. The mixed research methodology was most suited for this paper. Numerical data was used to identify patterns and trends through charts that showed economic conditions in the period from 1914 to 1945. Also, there was an effort to investigate the primary sources of people who played a role in the events mentioned to understand their actions and results better. To summarize, the Federal Reserve System was a necessity created at the beginning of the 20th century. Many financial panics had struck the U.S. economy in the years before its creation. It is proven that financial magnates supported the government to create a central bank, which the Fed operated with some modifications. During World War I, the Fed was still young, with most actions taken by the Treasury. The Great Depression is the most well-documented period when the Fed played a significant role in deepening the depression rather than saving the economy. The real bills doctrine dominated the board, which made members focus on keeping inflation low instead of supporting the economy with increased money stock. President Hoover's actions were unsuccessful in containing the depression, causing the next administration to take more drastic actions. The U.S. started collecting gold and silver, with two banking acts in 1933 and 1935 altered the Fed structure. As the economy was recovering, a blow led to the recession of 1937-1938, struck by the Fed, as it increased requirements for securities and coupled with the gold sterilization the Treasury enforced, led the economy backward. As the recovery continued in 1939, World War II broke out in Europe, assisting in creating the U.S. as a superpower. The government and the Federal Reserve worked harmoniously, financing the war effort and succeeding to prevail over the Axis powers. Thank you very much. Have a good day.